This program on NOTSTR8 TV is brought to you by Video Blocks. 7 days of free downloads, over 50,000 stock clips of video, backgrounds, music, and more. To get started, visit NOTSTR8.tv/video blocks. Sign up and get your 7 days of free downloads. NOTSTR8.tv/video blocks.
The following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. A 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Hollywood, Florida, with your host and hostess, Mark Angelo and Jessica Lynn Cummings. Show for trans folks, by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. Well, hello and welcome again to Transition Radio TV. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas holiday and looking forward to the new year and the many exciting things that are up ahead. Today we have a special guest, Josh Kipp. But first, we want to thank our sponsor,
TheBreastFormStore.com. They have everything you could possibly need for your transgender or cross-dressing needs. Visit their website and tell them Transition Radio Show sent you. We are giving away a pair of gold seal breast forms, compliments of TheBreastFormStore.com. Send us an essay or a short video not to exceed 4 minutes telling us why you should be the winners of these girls. And that will be sent to transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Again, transitionradioshow@gmail.com. We have been receiving several essays and we'll pick a winner by next week. Yes. What does a talented vocalist do after hitting the Billboard charts, screening music videos worldwide, touring internationally, and being featured on national television? Naturally, it's jazz, man. Jazz vocalist Joshua Kipp has spent the last 6 years focused on his pop music project and continues to work with trailblazing music producer Christopher Cloud while foraying back into his first vocal love, jazz. In March 2011, Josh released his first complete jazz CD, Josh Kipp and the Cliptones, live at Enrico's. Now, Josh sets out with acclaimed pianist Julie Wolfe, Annie DeFranco, Indigo Girls, and studio engineer John Evans, Tori Amos, to begin work on a tribute album to his jazz muse, the iconic Chet Baker. In spring of 2010, Josh will also re-teamed up with filmmaker Aaron Birch to shoot his music video for Little Girl, the track released in 2007 that made music history and was featured on both The Tyra Banks Show and The L Word. In March 2011, this video made its MTV Logo debut at number 5 on Logo's Click List Top 10 Music Videos. A Midwest transplant, now living in Northern California, Josh founded and is the creative director for Free Play Dance Crew, a diverse crew of hip-hop dancers since 2000. He also provides artistic and technical support for several local dance companies, including Sarah Bush Dance, Project, Funk for Soul, and Sari Leon Dance Theater.
In your memory, I'll do the very best I can. In
And now, welcome to our show, Mr. Josh Klipp.
Anyone love trannies out there?
How's it going, Josh?
Good. I love that video.
Yeah, that's
Such
my
a
favorite.
song.
So do I. Great song, great dance moves, by the way. You're awesome, Josh.
Where was that video shot?
We shot that, Aaron, so as you mentioned in the introduction, Aaron Birch, who's a local filmmaker here in the Bay Area, shot and did all the editing on that. And we did that at a mausoleum in Oakland and also at a pier out in the Bay. But I think, have you read the story behind the song itself?
No, I'm not. Please share that with us.
Yeah, sure. And if you follow my blog on Original Plumbing, I actually wrote about it recently on Original Plumbing on my blog. But basically, I started writing that song. It was back in 2000 and I want to say 6 or 7, and for a minute I was part of this group here in San Francisco called the Transcendence Gospel Choir, which is a gospel choir made up of all trans folks. I don't know if it still exists anymore, but anyway, I was a part of it for a little while and met some really wonderful people there. And one of the women I met was this African-American trans woman named Donna. And I met her because the very first time I showed up to choir practice, she sat on my lap and asked me if I like dark meat.
Well, do you?
I'm a married man now. Anyway.
Good answer.
And she passed a couple months later, and I was sitting there at her memorial service, and all of these people were talking about her life. And I hadn't known that much about her life when I was in the choir with her. I just, knew her from practice. But what I learned about her was just really inspiring. That she, had HIV, had all these other various health complications, was HIV positive, and this woman who, by all accounts, had every right probably to just give up. An African-American trans woman, it's, trans women are so underemployed already. You throw the race card on top of that, and then the health issues on top of that. The courage it must have taken just to get out of bed every day, is moving enough, let alone that she took the time that she had on this earth to really make it a better place for all of us, by educating, going out and educating in the healthcare professionals. So I took a pencil out of my pocket and I started writing that song for Donna.
It's a very beautiful song, and everything about it, the rhythm, the words, and of course your performance. And those dancers in the performance, those are the dancers that you're still doing production with? Or?
No, those are dancers from Sarah Bush Dance Project, which is one of the companies that I worked with a lot in the past. And I do a lot of music editing for the Sarah Bush Dance Project. So, yeah, but they were dancing with me. In the video that we're going to see later, Little Girl, those are the dancers that are in my company, Free Play Dance Crew.
Awesome. Excellent. Josh, how does it feel to be living your dreams in more ways than one? And tell us how it all began for you.
Well, it's exhausting and awesome. I do a lot, but I just, I kind of feel like I have this second shot at life, and I've got 2 lifetimes to squeeze into whatever I've got left of this one. And so, so it is exhausting. It takes a lot of organization, not a lot of sleep, being very efficient a lot of the time, but, it's really, it's worth it. The music that I do, and the dance that I do, and the writing that I do, and the producing that I do. I often ask myself, when I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next, when if I have the great fortune to make it to old age, and I'm laying there and I'm looking back on my life, will I look back and say I did everything that I could do in my life to be a good person, and to use all of the gifts that I feel I've graciously been given. Well, I feel that I have made the most of that, and I think the answer is yes, and I think the answer is yes at the end of every day. So I feel really blessed, really.
Yeah, you are, and you're a very talented individual. I mean, between your singing, your dancing, and everything, I was blown away. Incredible.
And is this something that you've always done, the music itself, prior to transitioning?
Yeah, I had a musical family. My parents met singing a wedding. My dad was the church organist, and my mom was the singer. And they went on to sing weddings together for about 26 years before my dad came out. But there was always music in the family, so I've always done that. In fact, that is how I got into jazz. My dad was kind of my piano player, and so he subscribed to Sheet Music Magazine. So every month we'd get Sheet Music Magazine, and he'd sit down and teach me songs from Sheet Music Magazine, which I learned then as a young adult. I was mostly learning jazz standards.
So that leads me to the next question. You changed your genre, because you started off with the pop music type of thing, and then all of a sudden now you're into jazz. So it's pretty much something that's been in your heart. But did you plan to do this shift like that, or this is just something that you decided you wanted to start doing?
Well, I actually started with jazz and then sort of forayed into pop, and then now back to what I did before. Pop and jazz vocally are two very different art forms. I mean, jazz can be it can be vocally really demanding. You know, a jazz gig can be anywhere from 2 hours to 4 hours, and as a vocalist, you're on that whole time. As you know when your voice is changing, that's not possible to do a gig that long. Having to gut it out for that long, for that duration of time, and also range wise, when your voice is changing, and a lot of these songs they're vocally pretty demanding. So there was no way that as my voice was changing, I could continue to do jazz. The Klipp Tones, my band, existed as a band before my voice changed, and then basically once my voice started changing, I got into pop, which, pop, of course, is a pretty broad genre, but what I chose to do with it is write songs that worked for my voice as my voice was changing, as opposed to trying to sing jazz standards, which, not much I could do with those.
That was one of the hardest things when I started transitioning, because when I was a female, I had a soprano voice and I could hit just about any note. And then when I started taking tea and one day I went to sing, it was like, what? Hello? Where'd it go? It made me very depressed, and I didn't sing for a while. So did that happen to you in any sense where you couldn't sing? Because when you're going through that crackling, pubescent type of, there's like nothing comes out. You try to sing and it's like, it was like, no. Did you go through a period where you couldn't sing, or were you able to continue it?
I think everybody goes through that. One of the things that I did is I signed up for voice lessons, and I took voice lessons through the first part of it, just to give myself, guidance and motivation. And I also went to see an otolaryngologist down at Stanford. A friend of mine hooked me up with him, and he agreed to just see me free once. Hey, shush. Once, I think I went once a month for about a year and a half, and he ended up basically using me as research and studying and writing the first article on what happens to a trans man's voice medically as he is transitioning through the use of testosterone. So that's out there, which is cool because it didn't exist when I was trying to figure out what would happen with my voice.
Yeah.
But to sort of address the emotional aspect of it, you know how hard it is when you have this. I had this instrument that I was so accustomed to, and even though it didn't fit, I knew how to use it, and all of a sudden, notes that used to be there not being there. I had to completely relearn. It's a completely relearning of muscle memory, and it was really depressing. And it's been a work in progress. Learning to let go of expecting myself to be perfect, and being happy with what comes out of my sounds that come out of my mouth. So it's still a learning, really. It's still a learning. I mean, I just finished recording the first part of my Chet Baker tribute album, and that's what happens. I'm in the studio, and all of a sudden I'm going up into my head voice, and it's still there. I still deal with it.
Yeah, and it's got a mind of its own, because I notice some days are better than others, and it's, people don't realize, I didn't realize when I started transitioning that I was going to lose my voice. And then when I started finding out that it's like the lengthening of the vocal cords, which is what happens to pubescent boys anyway. And so it's like, wait a minute, but what does this have to happen to me? And, because I really enjoyed the voice that I had. And so now I've gotten used to it, but I do miss my other voice at times, even though it didn't fit the way I felt, but at least it sounded good.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot that can be done with, first of all, good vocal hygiene. And one of the things that the the doctor down at Stanford had me do was I had to quit coffee, for instance, which was really hard. But he said to me one day, he said, well, you can sing or you can drink coffee. And I was like, whoa, I guess that's pretty direct. You know, so things like not beating up your vocal cords, you know, drinking lots of fluids, drinking lots of tea, you know, not dumping caffeine and dairy on them. Smoking is a huge one. You know, that's going to just destroy your voice no matter what. But so taking good care of your voice, but also exercising it like you would any muscle, exercising it every day. And just like exercising any muscle, the more you do that, the more familiar you're going to be, the more, you know, strength, familiarity, flexibility you'll have with it, and be able to use it proficiently.
Yeah, definitely. Well, here's the you singing a little bit of John Sinatra at the Elbow Room. So.
Fly me to the moon. I wanna play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Who knows this one? Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Yeah, Frank Sinatra, eat your heart out. Little tranny up in the elbow room doing your damn song. It's okay to like tap your toe or snap your finger. It's okay. I know it's early, you haven't been drinking much, but it feels good. Trust me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, in other words, in other words, I love you. Oh, thanks, guys.
That was good. I like Frank Sinatra.
Such a little punk.
Who, Frank Sinatra or you?
Me.
Hey, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks. Yeah, and I normally when I do jazz, and that was that was for some kind of I don't know, some variety type show, but I don't normally perform with track. I usually perform with a band.
Right. Well, who is Josh, and what makes him tick?
I think you know, the philosophy that I mentioned earlier about just really wanting to make the most of what I have. My mom used to say this when I was a kid. My mom used to always say to me, "To whom much is given, much is expected." So I feel that I have been given a lot, and so much is expected of me. Not in a bad way, in a fun way. So that kind of makes me tick. That sort of that was sort of ethic.
Get a little deeper. What are the things that Josh likes or dislikes? I mean, let's say right now you weren't you know, you have somebody in your life, and I was a dating service, or I was an employer, and I wanted to know a little bit about you. What, you know, spotlight on Josh. Tell me all about Josh. What makes you tick? What?
Okay. Well.
Keep it PG.
Nah, you can do whatever you want. Say whatever you want.
I was kidding.
What makes me tick? I guess putting things out into the world that are doing good for it. Hey, who's gonna go under the laundry basket? You got that on your show now, that my dog goes under a laundry basket when he's barking. I remember when I was a kid, every time that my dad would take us camping, and every time we would be packing out of the campsite, my dad would always say, okay, now you got to make sure that you leave the campsite better than when you showed up. And I think that's how I feel about life, is that I got to leave this world better than when I arrived. And whether that's just making music that anybody will listen to and say, wow, that was a great Sunday afternoon I spent listening to that guy and his band. You know, or if it's somebody who needs to hear a trans man singing and saying, you know, I needed to hear that because that gives me hope or courage for myself. Or, hey, wow, listen, now there's a trans guy who's doing, you know, jazz standards. Whoa, pow, you know. Or in my writing, I don't know if you've read a lot of my writing, but if you go onto the Original Plumbing website and check out some of my blogs, I do a couple things. I profile other trans men who I think are incredibly inspirational people, including Joe Stevens, who you had on your show. And I've profiled Sean Dorsey, who's an award-winning trans man choreographer out here in the Bay Area, among others. Oh, Tyler McCormick, who was the first trans man to win the International Mr. Leather competition. I had the incredible pleasure of writing about him. I mean, what an amazing guy. If you haven't read that piece I wrote on him, please go read it, because it's just he really moved me. That speaking to him was humbling. Later today, I'll be interviewing Kyler Broadus, who is the first African-American trans man, frankly, to testify before the Senate regarding the Employment Non-Discrimination Act and the importance of including gender identity in that act. So, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, whether it's in my music, finding ways to improve, leave the world a better place through that, or in my writing, you know, whether that's profiling, inspiring trans men, or I often will write blogs about what to do when you're not feeling good about yourself, you know, ways to kind of get through those days, which I think is really important for our community. Or in dance, you know, the other kind of art form that I do a lot with. I transitioned while directing my dance company, which was a really interesting experience of literally watching myself transition in a mirror, moving and transitioning in a mirror. And I've done work around that. I've done art and choreographed around that, but just being a trans man and dancing and showing that's an option, and that it can be beautiful, and you can make it about being trans, you can make it about being queer, or you can just make it about whatever you want it to be about. So, you know, who is Josh and what makes me tick? It's my desire to use the gifts that I have been given to make the world a better place.
Your creativity.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do too with my music. My music is very about helping people wake up and just getting stuff out there to make people think, you know, in general. Mm-hmm. So tell us, how was it growing up in the wrong body, and when did you decide you could no longer live the lie?
So I'm curious about that question. Actually, what is it? What do you mean when you say wrong body and living?
Well, what people think wrong body, because my belief is we're born this way for a reason. There's no mistakes, but I wanted to see how you feel about the whole general, how people think.
Some trans
people think it's a curse. I think it's a blessing. If I had to do this again, I would do it again, time and time again. I'm very happy with who I am. I consider myself two-spirit. So I throw the question at you, and exactly it's for that to give me, okay, well, I don't think it's the wrong body. You know, I'm giving you the, what's the word I'm looking for? The canvas to paint the picture of how you feel your life has been. Growing, what people thought it was the wrong body. I don't believe it's the wrong body. I think this is a gift. But what do you think?
Well, I would agree with that. I think that what's a gift about it is it's a gift of perspective. Trans people, I think, have the gift of seeing the world from many different perspectives, as opposed to most people will only go through the world in their lifetime seeing the world from one perspective, and that is, theirs. Whereas trans people, you've been in the world, and let me qualify this: trans people who have the fortune, or if they consider that, however, if they want to pass and are able to pass, let me put it that way, because not everybody wants to, or whatever. But if you do, and you get to see how people have treated you when they assume one set of facts about you versus assuming another set of facts about you, and what that does, that perspective, and I guess it's not even a question of passing. It's just a way of looking at the world and seeing it as a trans person. I think it can give you incredible compassion for other human beings, and understanding how little we actually know about each other, and the importance of taking the time to learn about other people, and to really understand how much we have in common, as opposed to focusing on our differences. So I agree with you that it's a gift. And really, it's a question then of what we do with that,
Well, see, I think too. Go ahead. Sorry, Josh.
Oh, no, I'm done.
Oh, okay. No, I think that, a lot of us think that in the initial beginning, okay, I hate my body, I hate the way I look. I was definitely born in the wrong body, but I think as we transition and we grow, we truly learn that, hey, wait a minute, life's about living to the fullest. And as trans people, we are truly living that, I would say, because we are living life to the fullest. As you said, we got both perspectives. We've got both the male and the female perspectives of life. And what more could you ask for?
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons we created this whole transition radio outlet, is to show people how angelic they really are. Because the majority of trans individuals, especially the ones that start off in the beginning, hate themselves, hate their body, and they have this dysphoria. And it's understandable. But when they really evolve and start to realize, wow, this is a gift. I'm angelic. I'm two-spirited, I mean, back in the old days, we were considered shamans, healers, teachers. We were looked very high upon the tribes. And now people just want to kill themselves, or want to hurt themselves because they feel they're not normal. And I say, what is normal? If you look at nature, there's no two trees that look the same. And I think we've come here as a reminder of an evolution that's going to take place, to show people that they need to be in touch with both their energies.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I wrote this story once about, I'll just tell you the story. I won't tell you what I wrote. I'll just tell you the story. I am friends with, Rocco Catastrophe, the rapper.
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I know who he is.
Yeah, and we were talking, it was many years ago, and I was just, saying I was going through some hard stuff, and And he said, yeah, that happened to me. That happens to me. And I like to write everything down and on a piece of paper, put the paper in a bottle and chuck it out into the ocean. And I was like, yeah, it's a good idea. So I thought about that for a little while. And finally one night I was like, okay, yeah, I need to go do this. So I took out a piece of paper and I wrote down 3 things. I wrote, I want to let go of thinking I have a funny body. I want to let go of thinking that I'm unattractive. And I want to let go of thinking that I will never find love again. And I put that on a piece of paper, and I rolled it up and put it in this bottle, and I drove my motorcycle out to the ocean. And it was cold. It was, the Pacific Ocean in Northern California is freezing. So it was a freezing cold night, and I'm out there, and there weren't too many people out there, but there was this, just huge guy in purple camouflage pants down the beach, 75 yards or something, and these 3 little kids, running around his feet. And he looked like a very unhappy guy. Couldn't, manage these kids, and I don't know what his story was, but, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And I took my bottle, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to let go of this, and I suddenly felt really bad about littering in the Pacific Ocean, but I'm like, no, I'm going to do this, And I threw it out. I just, as hard as I could, I threw it out. And I stood there and I was waiting for the heavens to open, and now I'm going to be free of all of this.
Cop comes behind you and gives you a ticket.
Well, what happened was that I guess the tide was coming in because the bottle didn't go out. It started coming back in.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh, my God, this is horrible. Not even the Pacific Ocean wants my shit. And I watched as this bottle was floating up basically to the feet of this large man in the purple camouflage pants. And I just turned and ran, just turned and ran. I was like, this is humiliating, And as I was driving home, I was trying to make sense of this. What does this mean? I can't, how do I get rid of this? And I was thinking about it. I was thinking oh God, what a bust. I was hoping what I had hoped for was not what I felt I was getting. And I got home and, I sat down on my couch and I was thinking about it. And what I realized was, I was kind of imagining, well, what if that man in the purple camouflage pants, this big fat guy in purple camos with these 3 little kids who are little brats running around his ankles. What would he think if he opened up that bottle and pulled out that piece of paper and read the 3 things that I wrote down? And what I realized is that it was really possible that he could have thought those same exact things about himself. And what I gathered from that is that there is so much strength to be had in finding our common humanity and seeing our common pain. And by pain, I don't mean that as a bad thing. I mean, it's just true. It's just life. Things hurt. And how much strength there is in knowing that we're not alone in that. So that was truly the gift that I got from that night, was not that the ocean just whisked my stuff away, but that I realized that I wasn't alone.
It is,
that's awesome.
I've always heard, it's a Spanish saying, if you think your life is bad, look behind you, and there's other people that have it worse. And that's why, I always try to tell a lot of the trans brothers and sisters, it's bad to be born, or I don't even like to use the word bad, but it can be depressing to not have your brain match your genitals. But there's worse things in life. At least you're healthy. You've got working fingers, working legs. You're able to see and hear. I mean, there's other things, and it's important that we put things in perspective. That life doesn't end because your gender and your genitals don't match. You can look at that saying, if life gives you lemon, make lemonade. And that's basically what we have to do.
Exactly. And Josh, I noticed that you're about to embark in marriage. Tell us a little bit about the special lady and how it all got to be. Which was the third thing on your list.
What's that?
Which was the third thing on your list.
Ironically, she was one of my closest friends when I wrote that. My fiance is a woman that tried out for my dance company a few years ago, and I vowed I would never ever date anybody in my dance company, but she became my best friend, and earlier this year, more than that, and she's my person. I feel really, really lucky. So,
that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And
she's pretty great.
That's great. Well, love is a grand thing.
Definitely.
Has its ups and downs sometimes.
Yeah, well,
but
all relationships have their ups and downs. I mean, whoever said that love is a fairy tale is not.
I'm sure you guys know nothing about that.
Oh.
No, not at all. We would know nothing about that. Well,
there are times we love each other, times we just kill each other. It's like, okay, why are we in this again? Remind me. But it's all good. I mean, it's love. That's what we're here to do. Learn to love oneself, love one another, and unconditionally. That's the key.
Exactly.
It's true.
Well, here is Josh's little girl's music video.
And do you guys know the story behind this one?
No, but you can tell us after the video plays.
Yeah, definitely. I want to hear it.
Saw your face, and I noticed the change in your eyes. You've grown tired of all of the lies. It wasn't worth the wait. Close to dying, you didn't know how to stop trying. You held on, almost drowned alive in the tears you cried. You broke down to a place so low. It's not worth the sacrifice. You heard that line 1,000 times. Find a life that treats you right and let your heart be free. Free. Little girl, sleep tonight. Dream about it, and that's so when you wake up, you won't cry anymore. Little girl, don't lose hope as you break the chains they put on you. In time you'll survive and fly away. Don't be afraid, so much lies in your ways. You can fly in the face of what they say. Lose your pride, but keep your faith. Beautiful, you deserve all the love in this world. There's no mirror reflecting your worth. Only tears of joy from now on. From now on, it's not worth the sacrifice. You heard that line 1,000 times. Find a life that treats you right and let your heart be free. Free. Little girl, sleep tonight. Dream about it, and that's so when you wake up, you won't cry anymore. Little girl, don't lose hope as you break the chains they put on you. In time you'll survive and
Excellent.
That was awesome.
Tell us the story behind the video.
Yeah.
The song.
So Little Girl is a song that I wrote and recorded with Christopher Cloud, the guy I used to work with as a producer. And we wrote and recorded it prior to transition, and then we rewrote it and re-recorded it post-transition. And so all the vocals that you hear on there are mine. Some are from pre and some are obviously post.
Excellent. So Josh, if you could change anything about your life, what would that be?
I think I would. I think I'm really fortunate. So I don't think I would change anything.
That's awesome.
Right on. I like that. Yeah. So what are the plans for the new year?
Well, you see the giant Post-it notes behind me, and those are the brainstorming machinations of the show that I'm directing and creatively producing for a dance company, Free Play Dance Crew. I'm going to continue working on the Chet Baker tribute that I'm doing with Julie Wolfe, who played for the Indigo Girls for about 25 years. She's awesome. She's here in the Bay Area, and so she's doing the piano and music directing for the album. Now we just have to get my trumpet skills up to par for that. So far, they're okay, but not awesome. We continue to write for Original Plumbing. I would love to start writing my own book, but we'll see. It's on my list of goals. And then, of course, I want to keep producing events for in the sort of trans folk acoustic genre. So with guys like Joe Stevens and Ryan Casada, I'm actually looking at doing a show with Joe Stevens and oh, come on, I'm spacing out on his name right now.
That's my job.
Driver, Kit Yan. Thank you, Kit Yan from Good Asian Driver. And hopefully later in the year, I'll be producing a show with. Have you heard of Sidney Bullens?
No.
You should look up Sidney Bullens. Sidney Bullens is recently transitioning. He's kind of an older guy, and back in the day, he sang backup vocals for Elton John. And in fact, his vocals were Grammy nominated on the Grease soundtrack. And he's worked with everyone from Emmylou Harris to Bonnie Raitt. I mean, he's incredible. Anyway, so I'm working on an article for Original Plumbing about him, but I'm also hoping to get him out here to do a show with him and Joe Stevens later on in the year. I think that would just be a kind of a mind-bogglingly awesome show.
I'm sure it would.
Definitely. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, Josh.
Best way is just go on my website, joshuaklipp.com, and you can contact me there. Or, of course, I'm on Facebook. Although I got to be honest, Facebook, a lot of stuff gets lost in Facebook because there's so much going on. So the best way is to email me directly through my website.
That's awesome. Oh, unfortunately, I live all the way on the East Coast, but I would love to be able to do something. I don't know if you checked out any of my music. I released my own album called Enslaved with 16 tracks that are very eye-opening, mind and heart-opening type of music.
I've listened to your stuff before. I can't. It was a while ago though. I feel like it was a couple of years ago. I watched a video of you performing at a conference or something.
I don't know if you've seen my latest stuff, Enslaved. It's pretty good CD. Kind of progressive rock. A little bit of.
It's like rock,
Melissa Etheridge type of, because my voice, that's how I was able to making it very raspy. It's because the soprano days are way over. So, but
do the best that you got.
Yeah, you got to do it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's definitely it. But if we were up that way, I'd definitely be coming to you for some dance lessons.
Well, you can. I think I mentioned at pre-show that they're the shows that I produce. We call them three guys and six strings. Usually I have three main transmen performers, and they're all acoustic guitar But there is a live album of Three Guys, Six Strings. It's available on iTunes. So you definitely check that out. And it's great. It's Storm Flores, Alex Davis, and Joe Stevens are all featured on it. It's really cool.
That's awesome. I definitely want to check that out.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, your life, and being here with us. I appreciate it, and I'm sure the viewers will love this as well.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys for doing it. I appreciate your continuing to do positive media work for the community.
Definitely. And we enjoy doing it.
And tell your doggy we said bye.
Yes.
He said hello there in the background.
All right.
Have a great holiday and a happy New Year, honey. Thanks.
Happy New Year to you too.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, so now that was a great show.
It was a great show.
And Josh is a great and very talented individual.
But we want to make sure that you visit our sponsor at the breastformstore.com and
tell them Transition Radio sent you.
We hope you're enjoying our show. We look forward to bringing you great interviews for the new year. Send us your feedback at transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Again, that's transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Visit our website, www.transitionradio.net. Jessica works very hard on that site, constantly changing to keep you on your toes. Sign our guest book and show us your support. And we hope everyone's enjoying themselves, had a great holiday, have fun, because that's what life is all about, having fun. And the world didn't end. We're still here. We're going to 2013. And I'm going to end the show with one of my originals called Have Some Fun. We love you guys, but remember to always love yourselves too.